You need to hear this if you're a shopper, a business owner, or just someone who loves a good deal, because the India-EU Free Trade Agreement could flip your world upside down. Imagine your favorite German car suddenly dropping in price, or your next job coming from a company halfway across the globe. This isn't just another boring trade deal. This is the kind of agreement that could shake up what you buy, how much you pay, and even where you work. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, we're diving into how this mega deal could change prices, jobs, and the future of global trade, maybe even your next big purchase. Ready? Let's go. The India-EU trade deal took nearly 20 years. Think less whirlwind romance, more epic slow burn. Talks started in 2007, but quickly stalled over issues like tariffs on cars and alcohol, and access for Indian professionals in Europe. By 2013, negotiations froze. India wanted to protect its industries. The EU wanted easier market entry. Then the world changed. The pandemic, US protectionism, and supply chain chaos pushed both sides back to the table in 2021. With new urgency, leaders reframed the deal as a strategic necessity, less about wine and cars, more about resilience and reducing dependence on the US and China. Finally, in January 2026, the deal was signed in New Delhi, a testament to patience and shifting global priorities. This isn't just another trade deal. It's a giant leap, a move that could reshape the global economic landscape for decades to come. The India-EU FTA creates a free trade zone covering nearly 2 billion people, about a quarter of the world's population. That's more people than the populations of North and South America combined, all connected through a single economic corridor. Their combined GDP, around $27 trillion, or a quarter of global output. This economic powerhouse rivals the might of the US and China, setting the stage for a new era of competition and cooperation. For India, it's the biggest trade agreement ever, a chance to boost exports, attract investment, and create millions of new jobs across sectors from tech to textiles. For the EU, it's a strategic pivot to the Indo-Pacific, opening doors to one of the world's fastest-growing markets and strengthening ties in a region that's becoming increasingly important. The deal covers not just goods, but also aims to streamline customs, reduce tariffs, and make cross-border trade smoother than ever before. It also includes services, investments, and intellectual property, meaning everything from banking and insurance to software and creative industries will benefit. It's designed to make it easier for European companies to invest in India, set up factories, and collaborate with local businesses on innovation and technology. And for Indian service providers, it opens up new opportunities to access Europe's vast market, from IT and consulting to healthcare and education. Both sides want to reduce reliance on unpredictable partners like the US and China, building a more balanced and resilient global supply chain. Leaders call it a new engine for growth and resilience, a partnership that could help both regions weather future economic storms. In short, this is more than a trade pact. It's a strategic alliance with global ripple effects, setting the tone for how nations might collaborate in an increasingly interconnected world. So, what's inside this mega deal? Let's break down exactly what both India and the European Union are getting out of this historic agreement and why it's being called a game changer for global trade. This isn't just about a few products crossing borders. It's a sweeping overhaul of how two massive economies interact, affecting everything from what's on your supermarket shelves to the jobs people do. The EU will eliminate tariffs on 90% of Indian goods right away, and that number will climb to 93% over the next 7 years. That's a huge win for Indian exporters, who will suddenly find it much easier and cheaper to sell everything from textiles to machinery in Europe. Imagine Indian products, from spices to software, becoming more competitive in European markets almost overnight. On the flip side, India will cut or reduce tariffs on a whopping 96.6% of EU goods. This means European exporters will save billions, making it far more attractive for them to do business in India. European cars, electronics, and luxury goods could become much more affordable for Indian consumers. Key sectors stand to benefit in a big way. Indian textiles, gems, and chemicals will get a major boost, opening up new markets and creating jobs. Meanwhile, European machinery, pharmaceuticals, and medical equipment will gain easier access to India, helping Indian industries modernize and improve healthcare. Services are a big winner too. The EU will get better access to India's booming finance and telecom sectors, while Indian IT and business services companies can expand their footprint in Europe. This could mean more collaboration, more investment, and more high-skilled jobs on both sides. Tariffs on European wine and spirits in India will drop dramatically, making luxury imports more affordable for Indian consumers. So, you might soon see more French wines and Scotch whiskies on Indian shelves, at prices that don't break the bank. In return, Indian products, think textiles, handicrafts, and specialty foods, will flood European markets at lower prices, giving European shoppers more variety and better deals. It's a classic trade-off. More choice, lower prices, and new opportunities for businesses and consumers on both sides. This deal isn't just about economics. It's about bringing people, cultures, and ideas closer together through trade. Cars were the deal's biggest sticking point. India's old tariffs on imported cars were sky-high, up to 110%, making European cars ultra-luxury items. Now tariffs will drop to 30–35% and eventually to just 10%, making German sedans and other EU cars far more affordable. But there are safeguards. Cars under $15,000 are excluded to protect India's small car makers, and import quotas will limit the number of EU cars entering each year. Electric vehicles get a special grace period, with quotas for both combustion and electric models. This opens India's market to European automakers, while giving local manufacturers time to adapt. For Indian consumers, it means more choice and lower prices in the premium segment. For the industry, it's a push to innovate and modernize, especially in electric vehicles. How does the US feel? Left out and a bit anxious. America's recent tariffs on both India and the EU pushed them closer together. Washington's response has been critical, warning that the deal could undermine US influence and hurt American exporters. EU goods will now be cheaper in India than US products, and Indian exports will be more competitive in Europe than American ones. This puts US businesses at a disadvantage in two huge markets. The deal also pressures the US to speed up its own trade talks with India. In short, the US may soon have to offer better terms or risk being sidelined. The global trade chessboard just got a major shake-up. Before this deal, India and the EU were already major trading partners. By 2024, their bilateral trade in goods hit $142 billion, over 11% of India's global trade. India ran a healthy trade surplus with the EU, especially in textiles, chemicals, and machinery. Services trade was booming too, with Indian IT exports to the EU doubling in 5 years. For the EU, India was its 9th largest trading partner, but this deal aims to push India into the top tier. Over 6,000 European companies already operate in India, making the EU a key investor and job creator. The FTA is set to deepen these ties, making investment and trade even easier. The deal's signed, but the story isn't over. The EU's Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, a carbon tax on imports, still applies to Indian goods, a major sticking point for India. Agriculture and intellectual property rights remain unresolved and will need more negotiation. The agreement must be ratified by the European Parliament and all 27 EU member states, a process that could face political hurdles. Past deals have been delayed or derailed at this stage, so nothing's guaranteed. Interest groups and national politics could still slow things down. If all goes well, the deal could be fully in force by 2027. What's the bottom line for you? Indian consumers will see more European goods, cars, wine, cheese, at better prices. Europeans will get cheaper Indian textiles, clothing, and leather goods. Businesses on both sides get easier access to huge new markets, driving investment and job creation. For India, it's a chance to go global. For the EU, a strategic foothold in Asia. Geopolitically, it's a new trade axis, less dependent on the US or China, more resilient to shocks. The deal is a bet on cooperation over confrontation, and if it works, it could reshape global trade for years to come. The world will be watching to see what grows from this historic partnership.